It's been occurring to me recently that we might be seeing the very last of the great Cleveland Cavaliers as we know them. And the reason I say that is because this team is looking real wobbly. Things are not going as planned. It looks like a shit show. They're third in the Eastern Conference, of course. I mean, look, this team, obviously they have the talent. That's the huge thing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, is that there's always something messing them up. There's always a problem. And, you know, we judge Kyrie, or, you know, I'm going to speak for myself. I thought, you know, it was a little questionable for Kyrie to leave the Cavaliers because I was not confident that he could lead a team because I really hadn't seen anything from him without LeBron, you know, proving to me that this guy was legit as a #1 option to lead a great team. And in Boston, he is thriving. He is in a better organization, on a better coach team, on a squad that plays legit team basketball and fundamentally sound basketball and actual defense, and he's away from all this drama. While in Cleveland, meanwhile, in terms of how they're playing, well, they're in the midst of like their worst stretch in years, like since before LeBron second run with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So like this is basically the worst thing that's happened to the Cleveland Cavaliers since like the 13-14 season. The way they're playing right now, they've dropped 2 back-to-back games where they lost by 25 plus, and they were down 40 against the Wolves, 30 against the Raptors in those games. And then against Indiana, they choked a 22-point lead and lost a game that they easily should have won. At this point, their defense is 29th in the NBA. They look like they can't guard a soul on the court. And for the people that are trying to say, you know, the Cleveland Cavaliers, that were closer to winning, like they made progress since those 2 blowout losses. They were on the road against Indiana, second game of a back-to-back against Indiana, and they almost won. Okay, so they were up 22, even though they lost the game. It's like they didn't get blown out. So they're still not getting, they're kind of out of that phase of getting blown out maybe. But for anyone who's saying that, Isaiah Thomas wasn't playing that game. And that's huge because if you're a Cavs fan, you want to see Isaiah Thomas play in a full game and play well and help his team win. Because in his last 3 games, I believe they've given up like 130 points in each of the last 3 games he's played in, because they gave up over 130 against Orlando. I think they did it against Minnesota. Maybe they did. Maybe they're like at 127 or something. But they gave up over 130 against the Toronto Raptors. And that was a Raptors team without Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka. I'm also hearing today that some Cavalier players are like annoyed because they think he's stat hunting and he's like keeping the ball too long just to get assists, and he's kind of stat padding. And it's just, there's always so much drama. There's been way too much drama in Cleveland, and I'm starting to think that, you know, we saw that little GIF clip of LeBron with like the finger gun to his head, and we're all saying, oh, well, he's got to be gone. At this point, unless we see a dramatic turn of events, unless we see this team make a big comeback and do what they usually do in the playoffs, which any other year, maybe we could be sure that would happen. However, I mean, I think it could. I'm just saying, Kyrie Irving isn't there this year. And this team, this is like the worst they've looked yet, at least at this point. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's like the worst season they've had yet, but I'm going to say this little stretch is the worst stretch yet that they've had since LeBron has been back on the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's just, it is what it is. It's been awful for them, especially just those 2 games. And, you know, obviously we think Isaiah Thomas can be playing better than he was in those games because he played really bad. Kevin Love did as well. And maybe it's just, maybe in a few weeks we won't be even talking about this because this team will be on a roll. I don't know. But they play the Warriors. They play them very, very soon. I think it's either their next game or the game after. And that's a test. They have to win that game, or at least show some fight. Because if they roll over and get pounded by 30 points, which, remember, it's very possible for that to happen, it's going to be a real problem because they already lost to Golden State. Now they have Isaiah Thomas back. He's going to be playing in that game. And, you know, if they need him to come through, they need him to help. And I don't know. I really don't know about Isaiah Thomas against the Warriors, especially, and I'm only saying this because of the defensive side of the ball. I think Isaiah should help LeBron on offense, at least when you think about it in your head. It's like, well, he takes the attention off of LeBron. He's a shooter. He can make shots off LeBron's passes. They should make it work, I guess. But then you look at how they've played together. They haven't played well together at all so far. And then you just think about his defense, and that's going to be a problem against Golden State, because you're either going to put him on Steph Curry or you're going to put him on Klay Thompson. Either one you put him on, it might be a nightmare, because the Warriors set a ton of screens. They're always running around the perimeter, and everybody on the Warriors is 6'3" and up. They've got a huge size advantage on Isaiah Thomas. They will kill him. They will game plan for him, and they will destroy him on defense. So I really don't know how the Cavs are going to think that they can get away with having Isaiah Thomas on the floor on that defensive side of the ball. His offense needs to be so good to the point where it cancels out his defensive weaknesses. So, you know, that's like this year. I don't think it's the year for the Cavs. That is, unless they pull the trigger on that DeAndre Jordan trade. If they do that, we might. I don't know why they wouldn't do that, first of all, because that would solve all their problems, or most of their problems at least, because it'd give them much better interior defense and just give them another star. And, you know, it might help them convince LeBron to stay and re-sign with the Cavaliers, which is like huge for your franchise, because if you lose LeBron, you lose everything. The Cavaliers are such a horribly run franchise that, like, there's no way that they can be good if LeBron leaves. I don't think. I think that if he leaves, which I think he probably will, it's over for you guys. You're going to be tanking. I'm sorry. The Cavs they've botched everything. I mean, they really have. They, first of all, are the reason that LeBron left them in the first place, because they couldn't get him anyone better than Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Mo Williams to play alongside him. They fired their great GM, David Griffin, who is responsible for a lot of the good moves they've made in the past, and they fired him because he was trying to trade away, I think it was Kyrie Irving for Jimmy Butler or something like that, or Paul George. He was trying to make like a Jimmy Butler or Paul George trade, and he got fired because of that. And they also have that guy Tyronn Lue, who looks like it's like he has no control over anything that's happening with this Cavs team. LeBron seemingly is like the only thing keeping them going. They're super dysfunctional. They play absolutely no defense, and they don't look like they're happy with, like, nobody is satisfied. No one's happy with what's going on. It just doesn't seem like a team that works. They don't seem like they have a good attitude. They don't play as a team. They're carried by LeBron, and they're really not much without him. So, you know, I don't see how the Cavs are an appealing destination to LeBron still, only because he was drafted there and he grew up there. That's the only reason why he's on that team. But I don't see why he should want to play with them for more years after this, unless they pull the trigger on that DeAndre Jordan trade. Maybe he would come back because that team would be looking really good, but it's not working. And at this point, I don't expect to see him back in Cleveland. Just right now, you look at how their team is going. It's hard to imagine that, but we'll see what happens as time goes on. You know, things can change in the blink of an eye, but still, I'm really not sure what this team can do, how this team can unite, because the Cavs, they've never been the type of team that they've played like a Spurs-esque equal touches basketball team where they have a system, and, you know, that's how they play offense, like the Celtics do, like the Spurs do, like the Warriors do, like a lot of the great teams do. It just seems like everything's through LeBron, and then you dump it down to Kevin Love every once in a while, and now at this point you're going to add in Kyrie. But then when they had LeBron and Kyrie in the finals, it was like isolations. Like, I don't know what's going on, and it's a mess. That's all I'm going to say. Like, if you enjoy, what do you think about the Cavs? I don't expect to see LeBron back next year at this rate, but we'll see what happens. Subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.